You want to play the victim that they took your rights. You want to play the victim that you can't have guns. You want to play the victim that you can't do this. Like, what about it? You can still go out and live life to the fullest of your potential.
I'm not playing the victim. You know, I rehabilitate my life too.
I deserved the punishment I received.
I somewhat agree with my sentence because I did the crime. I was guilty. I robbed somebody. I had a gun because I had a 10-year gun enhancement. So I guess, like, under the law, I did what they said I did. But also, I feel like I've seen a lot of people that did worse than me that had way less sentences. I got 16 years for one robbery. I seen people 3 years, better lawyers, you know what I'm saying? They barely get 2 years.
It's probably because you were solid and the other ones weren't.
Well, honestly, I did the crime with my brother, rest in peace. My brother died while I was incarcerated.
Sorry.
Me and him were on the lick. I got a distinctive look. So they said, we know it was you, for sure. And then we think it's him. So I'm for sure like, it ain't him, and it was me. It's my little brother, you know? So
Yeah.
I ended up taking the 16, but just to answer your question,
No,
that
that's
wasn't
cool.
the reason, but
I was thinking it might have been other code offenses.
it's because I had robbery charges in the past that got dismissed. The DA just wanted to hit me. He gave me a long gang enhancement, which I eventually beat. But you know, when you're fighting it, it's like, oh, you fighting 35 years. And it's like, come on. While in prison, I lost my brother, Brandon Shaw. I have other brothers and sisters, but this is my only brother by my mother. So we grew up in the same house. He was 4 years younger than me. So he followed me everywhere. You know, I had to pick him up from school, taught him how to ride a bike, like taught him how to swim. Also probably kind of led him to the streets in that life, made it more okay for him to do it. And he passed away of a fentanyl overdose while I was in prison. I think his roommate found him on the couch.
The first time I got incarcerated for stabbing somebody, because he owed me some money, they caught me. I mean, for a long time, yeah. I had that chip on my shoulder that the world was out to get me and this, that, and the other. And it took me a while to actually come to realization that I did the shit to myself. The second time I caught a drive-by case, I caught 5 counts of assault with intent to commit murder, discharge of a firearm from a motor vehicle, and felony firearm. So I got locked up. I beat all the charges except for the gun charge. Thank God. I ended up doing 5 years flat for that. I ended up doing 5 years for stabbing the dude. Like I said, for a long time, I wouldn't accept responsibility because I was a kid. I had a chip on my shoulder. The world owed me, and that's all I was gonna face. But I grew up, and yeah, I realized that don't nobody owe me shit.
I think for me, first I committed my crime. I was guilty. Second, that time saved me and made me become the man I am. So it took me losing my life for me to find it. I was sentenced to 25 years of life plus 10 years and told that my earliest time to get out was 2056. But I made a decision to slow down and started accepting responsibility for me. For me, standing on principle is find out what's important. I came home and married a woman that got 6 boys, and I became a step-parent. And those boys, I get to give them what I wish somebody would have given me. And it took me going in there and going through all the trials and losing everything I loved through that time to find out who I was.
I just don't think you should have got that much time. I think you would have learned this because you seem like an intelligent guy. I think you would have changed in 20 years. They didn't have to give you that much.
I'll be honest, if they would let me out any time sooner,
Yeah.
I was still the same person.
Oh, well, then it worked.
So for me, it was literally, I'm actually thankful because I can look in front of me and see a football field of all the people that died before me, that don't have the opportunities I got now.
Yeah.
So for me, it was, I needed all that time. During that time, I wanted to come home every day. I left from prison and went to the liquor store, got me something to drink, went to my neighborhood and got a gun and was back to the life.
Yeah.
So I posed a threat to myself and those around me, and it took 18 years in, I created a youth program. And I started bringing kids in. I saw me and all these kids.
Yeah.
And it gave me, for the first of my life, purpose. And now I live. After you live the life I live and taking so much, you feel like you can never repay your debt. And part of that restitution is everything that I'm doing now.
I'm going to move over here before I speak. I was on disagree, and I moved to strongly disagree because my case was a dry marijuana case with zero evidence, no weed, no phone calls, nothing. And I was accused of being a very large-scale smuggler working with the cartels. They put a prosecutor on my case who's the most notorious, out-of-bounds, prosecutorial misconduct prosecutor in Arizona. And she came at me. I had the best attorneys in the state. I roll in there, and she looks at me, and she says, either you're going to testify and set up the cartels, or you're going to do life. And in the meantime, she's sending goons to threaten my parents on the phone, like they're going to shake their house down. They take my son's birth certificate. It was just the most spiteful prosecution. And I don't say this without the facts. It's been well written about.
That's the part that's upsetting, too, is that a lot of prosecutors and cops, it doesn't seem to be a societal issue where they're saying, I want to send you to prison because of the impact upon society. It seems like it becomes personal.
Oh, it was very personal.
It's 100% egotistical.
And I did agree I would have, for like 8 to 10 years. I got 27 years for the marijuana. And the whole thing was like, you want me to testify and set up cartel members, and then what? Call my family, my military hero father, my saint of a mother, my brothers who are successful, and tell them, hey, y'all got to go on witness protection. It was never an option for me. And I would have signed 10 years. Again, that's why I strongly disagree.
I have forgiven myself.
I have forgiven myself? Yeah. Gotta move on.
I feel that guilt doesn't really have a purpose unless you're motivated to change. So I mean, just hanging on to that guilt when you have already changed doesn't really serve an emotional purpose except to keep you depressed and angry at yourself.
You're a therapist now too, you said, right?
Yeah.
Do you preach that in like therapy, that like the guilt isn't gonna like help you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When I first became a therapist, I was working in different agencies in Orange County and LA County, helping people that were moving from prison and jail, reintegrating back into society, where we house them in sober livings and help them go to the DOR and learn skilled trades. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us have some trauma, right? But I've noticed a lot of the clients that I work with, extensive trauma histories, right? And things that they've done as kids and stuff. And so it's like that guilt carried with them forever, right? And so part of my work with them was processing the trauma, helping them process the guilt, and like, who is this serving? The people that you were bad against, they've forgiven you. Why can't you forgive yourself now, right? What is the purpose of that? I think that's a big part of people that have been incarcerated, is holding on to the guilt.
I feel like I haven't forgiven myself because, one, because my kids I feel like they haven't forgiven me. My two daughters, I had one is 18 and one is 19. I feel like I don't really have a relationship with them like I should. It's just fresh, only been out a year. And just because I made a lot of stupid mistakes, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I know now that I've grown up a little bit, I feel like I had a lot more potential than I'll probably end up. I'm 40 now, so the things I can do are limited. So it's like, dang, I wish I would have realized what I had. I come from a good family. I got people that love me, and everybody doesn't have that. So I feel like with me having that and still making those terrible decisions, it's like, it kind of burns me up, makes me angry with myself. And also because my brother passed away while I was in prison, I was angry with him for his behavior, and I just never got the chance to say goodbye because I was so mad. I was like, man, I'm gonna break him up. When I get home, we're gonna fight and then we're gonna hug. But I never got that chance because he passed away. Sorry. My grandfather passed away. And I feel like the people who take care of us, it's like our duty to take care of them when they get old. And it's like, I didn't get to do that, and that bothers me.
Man, that resonates with me so much because my only son was murdered right before I came home, and I lost a lot of loved ones, but I was fortunate enough to see my parents. My mother had got Alzheimer's, and I was so happy. I couldn't believe the day I got to see my parents. And I know your pain. Like, I raised my son on my own, and when his life was took senselessly, you're like, what if I would have just like calmed my ass down and not fought back so hard and got the 30 years for the other stuff and got so maxed out on my sentence? Because what would I have rather done? I'd have rather dug ditches, the whole life and stayed home than go out and sell drugs and live. I lived the life of a rock star. I was making millions. And I would rather been just digging ditches, man. And yeah, I regret it. I know what you mean. It sucks not to see your people. My son was in Vista High School, and his cousin was at Vista High School with him. And one day he rounded the corner and saw kids beating up his cousin. They jumped him. My son intervened, and they just together beat the 4 guys off. 4 years later, after he graduated and moved out on his own, my son went back to his uncle's house. They raised him for me when I was in prison. He went back to exchange gifts on Christmas Eve, and that deranged little kid, one of them that was in the fight, was outside waiting on a gang initiation to kill my son's cousin. My son wasn't even a target, and when he walked outside, they shot him instead. And I was in the isolation. I was in the hole, which is normal for me. I was pretty busy in there. And I had to deal with that in a 9x12 box, and that's not easy. It was the hardest thing that, I can't put his pictures up in the house, I don't even talk about it. It's bad, but I raised him myself. I was a great father. But yeah, that hurts. That's a hard one.
Thanks, Rob. I wanted to say 2 things. One was, what was your son's name?
Tyler.
And what was your brother's name?
Brandon.
See, today I'm introduced to Tyler and Brandon, so they still go.
That's right.
I went to board on June 16th. I hadn't seen my mother in 26 years, and I called her and told her I'm paroling.
Unreal.
Oh, she broke. 2 months later, she was dead of COVID.
Were you home? Were you home? Did you get home to see her?
No, I was waiting for the governor to sign off. But she lived to see me get free. And one of the things where I say I agree with forgiving yourself. Well, today I live for her.
That's
Every
right.
time I do something good, I look up and thank her. So the choices you made, you have to live with them. But you honor those people with the choices you're making.
Yeah.
And the choices you made don't decide who you are today. You didn't dig a ditch, but today you're saving somebody. Today, your story is going to help somebody. Today, they're recording Tyler's name.
I appreciate that.
I just feel like how you gonna forgive yourself when you still got people that haven't forgiven you also, Like people whose lives that you affected. My kids, they grew up without no dad, or
They got you now, though, right?
that's the thing. Now one's 18, one's 19, and they doing their own thing. And I can't, I try to, I send them money, I try to,
All you can do is be there for them, man. I mean, if they can't accept that, what more can you do?
okay.
All you can do is be there for them.
You could ask them. I mean, they're still young, right? They still have their whole life ahead of them.
no, I'm hoping, it's just like no, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say you can ask them like, what do I have to do to get your forgiveness, or what more can I do to make us better, right? I think a lot of times, at least when I've dealt with parents and stuff like that, they just tell their kids like, well, I did what I did and I had to do what I did. You got to forgive me, I'm your parent. But that doesn't like make a kid feel good, right? But I feel like I don't know if you've done this, but if you do something like that, like, hey, what can I do to make this better? Maybe you can get further with them. I don't know.
You know what you need to do? You can't wait for them to forgive you.
There you go.
So if you've accepted responsibility, cross the line. If you've accepted that you done wrong, today forgive yourself, and then start today building a bridge with them. But it starts with you forgiving you and crossing the line and saying, I accept responsibility. This is me now.
Can I add something to that, brother? You accepted that. It sounds like you accept that you're dirt, right? That you're nothing. That's the first part of growth, because that's the only way that seed's gonna get planted, and you're planting it right now for both of you that lost, and you. You're living for them now, just like my brother said right here.
For sure, it's one of those things where, I know, I try to walk his path so they can see, but it's just.
It takes time, brother. Like
I mean, they gonna hold a grudge, bro. You was gone for so long. Yeah. All you can do is the best you can do.
You can beat yourself up or you can build yourself up. You're not dismissing the impact that you've had on others. What I'm hearing is that you feel like if I forgive myself, I have to say, oh, how I impacted you doesn't really matter. And you're not saying that. You're still acknowledging that. Like, you can still acknowledge the way that you've negatively impacted them and forgive yourself at the same time. Yeah. And in order to build yourself up, I mean, it's not a light switch. It is a process. It's something you have to work on every day. and it's something that just happens more and more and more and more and more. So if you've only been out a year and you haven't forgiven yourself, fully, don't beat yourself up. It'll come, with time. Just ask yourself, personally, what is it gonna take for me to forgive myself? And am I working on that every day? Because you seem like you got a good heart, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's I
you
see
seem
that.
like
I
a
think
good
like you haven't
dude.
forgiven yourself. It's
For sure, yeah.
You'll get there, brother.
I don't want to make it long-winded, but me and my brother, we grew up, my mom, kind of a single parent household, so it was me, her, and my mom. I was in prison, my brother's dead, so it was just like, to see how that affected my mother, she didn't want to go outside. We played football in high school, we were real known, So it was like, she was like, I didn't want to walk outside because if somebody asked, what happened to Trevon? She would have to explain that. And just that, I affected my mom where she didn't want to go to the grocery store type. She would have to answer that question. Brandon's dead, Trevon in jail. And that made her feel like, what did she do wrong? So that, I've forgiven myself because she's so proud of me now, the things that I'm doing. But as far as Brandon,
Impress him.
You know what I'm saying? I
going
miss
forward.
my brother.
Yeah, you're doing the right thing, man. You impress him. Everything behind you is behind you.
Yeah.
Impress him going forward.
Well, from what you said, bro, I'm pretty much in the same shoes as you. My brother was a year older than me. I was 17, he was 18, he got his throat cut over some bullshit. I was in prison when it happened, so for a long time, I beat myself up, bro, for a long ass time. Even to this day, I don't really accept the fact that I wasn't out when the shit happened because I could have prevented it probably. So I beat myself up all the time about it. Well, I mean, life still goes on though. You gotta grow, get past that shit. I think about it every day. Every day. Not a day goes by, I don't think about my brother. But you gotta grow. If I could give my younger self some advice, I'd say not everybody's bad. There are some good people in this world. You can't keep yourself closed off. Otherwise, you'll never find the people that are good. You gotta open yourself up to somebody. Otherwise, the world stays black and white. You don't see the colors of the rainbow.
Going to prison helped me more than it hurt me.
Hell no.
It's a hard one.
I don't think so. Where you
have
at?
to agree, though.
I agree. I should have been on strongly agree. Because for me, I came from a real dysfunctional family and from juvenile hall, YA, camps, prison. I did it all. My whole life was spent incarcerated. But this last trip changed my life. 12 days after I came home, I met my wife.
It's awesome.
And in the last 3 years, this woman has taught me more about being a man than anybody else. So if I wouldn't have had this opportunity to go here, learn, change, and become who I am, I wouldn't have been prepared for what was prepared for me. And once you accept that, man, I agree, man, prison helped me. I remember coming home not knowing what I was gonna do. I had no ID, no birth certificate, no social security card, nothing. And I ventured onto the web and I went to a Muslim dating site where I found my wife. We talked for the first time for maybe 4 hours. We haven't stopped talking since. And this woman was my anchor. Everything that I didn't know, she's teaching me. And because I came from prison and wanted to be the man, it was hard for me to accept it at first. But as I started realizing she actually cared, I started growing and became better for it.
My only issue with that is prison didn't help you. You helped yourself. And that to me is, I guess, the main point. If I could go back and I could change things, I wouldn't go back and I wouldn't change things because I love the person that I am right now. And I realize that the person I am right now is a direct result of everything that I've been through, including the struggle and including the mistakes. And the path that I'm on right now, I know that I'm on that path. I couldn't be happier.
You're right. I take that wholeheartedly.
Prison with your head. I mean, you'll never be the same when you leave that place, ever. You paranoid. I mean, you don't trust nobody.
PTSD.
Yeah, that's what it is.
PTSD.
So that's why I said that I strongly disagree with the shit because, yeah, it messes with your head.
Does it upset you that there's no programs to deal with the PTSD once you get out?
There should be.
Oh, I know there should be.
There should be.
Yeah.
And I'm actually
Now,
working
people
on
don't realize how bad prison does f you up.
Oh, there's no question. Yeah.
Mentally, yeah, it's a big ass drain on your brain. I've been in the system most of my life, from a juvenile to an adult, and it's always been the same. You put up this wall to keep people out. That way you don't get hurt and you ain't got to worry about anybody hurting you. And it's really hard for me to break down that wall. I mean, it interferes with relationships, it interferes with a lot of stuff, but I mean, I can't break through.
I don't think I would have become a therapist if I didn't go in. And a therapist helped me with my PTSD, and so that's why I'm giving back. I mean, yes, I believe that there should be like agencies that promote that. Like, hey, once you're out, like, we can help process your PTSD, right? We can help process your trauma. There's not enough like marketing, but I agree with you. But there are agencies that the therapists are there. But I think, you know, there's a lot of shame and guilt and going to a therapist. But the help is out there if people look for it.
If you're saying that prison is the cause, then everywhere where there's prison, everyone would make better choices, and that's just simply not the case. The case is that the majority of people repeat offend.
The recidivism is high because they just kick you out of prison after doing all this time. I got 11 years in the hole, you know, and it's like, if they just kick you out, guys come from Supermaxes, ADX, they give them 1 month on a GP line, and then you're in society. And it's up to you to get, you know, you get, what, Medi-Cal, I guess, you gotta go get the free insurance. And a lot of people that are proud are really hard to talk to therapists, I know, because people have told me, hey, you need, because I have a flip temper, I still do. And it's like, but I'm doing better, I just moved out of LA, now I'm doing way better.
I did the RDAP program, and I totally understand what you're saying. So what I did, when they gave me that, I was like, well, I'm just gonna use it, I'm gonna see what it is. And I didn't have that structure. I grew up in a dysfunctional home, and it was still, things were still out of control. Meth was still in my family. So it was like, I didn't have any of this structure, and then I didn't really understand. And I was like thankful to God that he took me in at that time, because I was a hothead before, like some of you know, different times he would have got me. I don't know what decisions I would have made back then. I kind of went in with more of a clear understanding that I'm just gonna do my time the best I can and come right back out. And everything they gave me in there as an opportunity or a program, from work to drug rehabilitation, I took advantage of it. I used it. The whole process helped me get clean. Like, I was on dope for a long time. I didn't have a clear head. And then I kind of actually seen like how everything was, and I was like, I'm already old, I don't want to do this no more. Like, these dudes are throwing like 10 years at you just for nothing, for a phone call. And I'm just like, I lost my grandpa too in there. I didn't know till I got home, and I was just like, thank God I got home. My mom got sick, but I was there to be with her while she's sick, and she's still here to this day, and I'm thankful that I had that opportunity. But now, it's more of not thanking the prison, but it's like, I'm thankful to God that happened at the time it happened.
If I didn't have a family that was well off and looked out, I would have just split to Mexico and started smuggling with the cartels again.
And I wouldn't blame you.
Because it's so hard up here,
blame
you know,
people,
like
yeah.
even, I mean, come on, sub sandwich is 20 bucks now. It was $5 when I left.
I have bullied someone in prison.
Let's see how to, never mind.
I'm actually surprised to see so many people that haven't. But to me, bullying is just part of the aggressive nature that comes with prison. You know, if somebody come in and they've been off drugs and they sleeping for 3 days and ain't showered, you know, we only finna say that one time, like, get up and shower. And after that, it's hands and feet. Also, I was trying to keep people off my back. So off top, you know, I got a little education. You know, skin color, whatever, I felt that people would take me as being a joke. I bullied weaker inmates in prison because I was weak myself. I wasn't prepared for the system, right? Like, I talk different than inmates. So people would get at me about it because I talk a little bit proper. So I would change the way I talk. And then if somebody else came in that sounded like I used to sound, I would bully them. I was only doing it for acceptance and because I didn't want anybody to do it to me. I should have been the voice of reason and been like, hey, we should let them breathe or just tell them to walk out, you know? But that wasn't what I was doing because I was a coward. You know, in prison, like, bro, if you take a candy bar, I done seen people get beat to damn near death. To me, that's like, it's people that should have been like, hey, bro, don't ever do that. But we didn't do that.
I don't believe it's bullying when you go and tell someone, hey, man, you need to respect your cellie, you smell, you don't shower. I think you did a good thing. I don't think you're a bully for doing that.
Yeah.
But then
like,
how we handled it, though,
I
did put it like this. It just wasn't like that. You know, we told them, but after you tell two people, now that third person to come in, now you only say it half a time because we can already put hands on two people for this. Right. Now it's, and then he doesn't know that.
But bullying would be, did you ever take advantage of someone who you viewed as weaker than you?
That's what it is.
There you go. That's bullying.
I don't think you did.
I think people make the mistake because we grew up with violence and rules and structure.
I took advantage of everybody I thought was weaker than me.
People who lived in the same street that we lived on that didn't have those structures. When you get to prison, you're punished for not having those structures. You're punished for not understanding the rules. The stuff that some people do is not intentional, but we hold them to a standard. And we've hurt a lot of people because they just didn't know.
This is a story with somebody weaker than us. Somebody came in, I know he has a mental problem. I got enough sense to know that. I'm a person with good sense. Everybody in the tank, not so much. You know, you can see this dude is slow, but instead of saying, hey, somebody go tell the police to get him up out of here, you know, this ain't where he belong at. What you think we gonna do? Or what you think I did? You know what I'm saying? I stretched him. So it's like, he's weaker. He didn't even know what was going on. And I feel bad for that. Like I said, I'm trying to keep people off of me. You know what I'm saying? Or just, I don't want people to think I'm weak, so I'm going, man, I done seen if somebody come in and got a gang of canteen, but he kind of soft. Everybody finessing him out of his shit, and then if he act like he want to get wild, we pack him out, beat him up, and get him up out of there. That's not right. You know, that's bullying.
I've had more success doing illegal activities than legal ones.
I've had more success.
What the? So far, I've only been out a year, so I've only collected maybe $30,000. No lie, I made that in one day. Been doing illegal things, so as far as success, I made a lot more money illegally than legally. In a couple years, that probably won't be true.
I feel pretty stupid, I'll be honest with you about that part, because it's like I made a lot of money at one point in time. I came up real quick and it just goes real quick. It was never even mine. I see people that are like my age, you know, they did it the other way, and now they have equity, they have houses, they have businesses, and I'm just looking at, I can't even look at a house to buy on my own now where I stand. So it's like, that one kind of like, yeah, the money was quick and fast, but the feds are probably gonna take it anyways.
I had my 2 kids after I stopped with the bullshit. I had my 2 sons. That made me the happiest man in the world. I ain't need to do nothing else illegal. That's all it took. When I had my first son, it changed everything in my life. No more trouble, no more problems, no more anything. I had him, and that was it. I wanted to be straight there. I wanted to be able to be there for him and not be locked up behind some glass or some bars. So I stopped everything. That's my pride and joy. I would do anything for them.
See, I thought success meant not happier, like I'm happier now for sure, and less carefree, but like success. Like basically I'm at the bottom of the food chain at my job. So I'm not necessarily a successful worker, but I just feel like I was on a...
But success ain't just financial.
Yeah.
It's not just financial,
build a solid foundation though, man.
A whole lot of shit to go into being that.
I remember being at work and my stepson texted me and said, man, after work, can you pick me up? Can we go buy this Nike headband? And I remember going and picking him up, and we went and got the Nike headband. I worked all week to give him that Nike headband. I didn't steal, I didn't do nothing wrong, and the feeling that it was mine to give to him was priceless. So anything I made doing wrong didn't count.
Well, I personally definitely would never come close. My life was absolutely lopsided, like the illegal money. I was a smuggler for 15 years straight, never got caught. I had houses all over the place, cars. I had a net worth of probably $7 million in the 90s, half of it cash. And no, I haven't. Definitely it outweighs. The illegal stuff made way more money, but I did do good in buying homes and redoing them and using my own type of designs. And you know, I would buy a house that wasn't finished, and then I would launder $300,000 in the swimming pools, the tennis courts, and I was good at it. But the money came from illegal activity. It came from weed, you know. I mean, like he's saying, I was making $400,000 a truck. One day in New York, 1,500 pounds of weed, I'd take it from Arizona there. And it's just, you know, I mean, that's just being honest. No, but I intend to make way more legally than I did illegally.
I'll be honest with you though. You talk to a lot of people who are business owners, and they will tell you they'll only hire felons, especially people that were selling drugs, because they're hustlers. They really are. I was on bail in New Jersey for 3.5 years. It was the first legal business I ever started. I had no experience, and we did $2 million in revenue our first year in business. And that just kind of opened my eyes, like, shit, if I take all of these skills that I was using, you know what I mean, to traffic and do illegal activities. It's just, holy shit, you apply it to something legal. And it's just like, my story is not the only one. There's plenty of people who are ex-traffickers, and you look, and as soon as they step into the arena with legal businesses, and they take off and they skyrocket. So I just think that it's like we all have great energy, it just got misdirected. So we have to understand, hey, look, we are hustlers, we are hard workers. We just gotta remove that stigma.
A friend of mine's about to offer me a job. They own 1,300 acres of avocados, brokering them to Erewhon Delis, Trader Joe's. And I looked at him, I went, damn, I can make as much money doing this as I did selling weed.
And it's the same skills.
It's the same exact skills. It's just you're selling something else.
Yeah.
And it's about being, cordial, able to interact with others, and, it's sales. It's no different. It's just one's legal, one's not.
Most people believe ex-cons can change.
Say someone
Can change.
Well, I agree with the prompt because nowadays there's so many foundations, organizations, charities. There's a lot of jobs that are on the list that hire felons. There's the ability to start businesses like Homeboy Industries. There's like Homeboy Industries that came up off of helping nothing but convicts. Second time around, I feel like people are more understanding.
I just think that if society believed that ex-cons could change, they wouldn't make you have a record that cannot be expunged. I think it is absolutely horrible and disgusting that you have that record for the rest of your life. And I understand there are some crimes like, pedophilia, that those people, I think it's a psychological issue, they're probably not going to change. But when it comes to selling drugs and crimes like that, it's a stain that you have to wear for the rest of your life. I can't have, my firearm. I've never committed an act of violence. I've never violated somebody's autonomy. And that's something where it's just, if more people believed that ex-cons really changed, I think that there would be more people calling for criminal justice reform to try to restore our rights.
I try to say that you're wrong, bro, but it sounds like from everything that you said since we've been out here, it seems like you just want anarchy in the United States. You don't want nobody punished for drugs. You don't want nobody punished for guns. You don't want nobody...
I never said I don't want anybody punished for guns. I just said if I haven't committed an act of violence, why is it that I can't have a gun to protect myself?
Because you still evidently have committed some kind of crime.
If you can show me that as a result of my actions that I have a propensity towards violence, then you could justify my ability to not own a gun. But criminologists, people who have PhDs in the study of criminal behavior, say that I have no more likely to commit crime.
Oh, and I agree with that.
Yeah,
but regardless,
so then why should my right to have a firearm be withheld?
Because we're in the United States of America. They set the laws, that's what you gotta abide by.
Okay, but why are the laws set?
To protect the people, hopefully.
To protect the people. And my whole point is, if you look at the criminological research, it's not protecting the people.
So you're telling me that the laws that we have, as far as police departments, military, whatever, you're telling me this shit don't work in no kind of way?
I 100% support the police when it comes to things like, violations of autonomy. If someone is robbing you, if someone is stabbing you, you need the police to show up. That is completely and totally different from things like white-collar crime and things like drugs.
I'm just going to comment on what you said about expungements don't exist. I'm living proof that an expungement does exist, right? So did the crime, did the time. I had a felony for me and a group of friends stole a car, but the crime was not originally supposed to be a felony. My deal was a misdemeanor. The judge hiked it up to a felony. But the thing is, I went to school, got my bachelor's, got my master's, became a therapist, got an expungement. There are so many agencies that help people expunge, agencies that will pay for the expungement costs. So I disagree with that, but I think that a big portion of society still believes that, once a criminal, always a criminal.
See, but at that point, bro, I feel like you as a person, you cannot lose yourself in that past. You feel me? I feel like nowadays, like I'm just speaking for myself, you know what I mean? But I've come a long way from being a criminal. I own a business. I have cars that I dreamed of having when I was a kid. I'm not on probation. Don't submit to search and seizures. I'm educated. I got a degree. Like literally, like I didn't stay in the circle of like, yo, I'm gonna play the victim my whole life and say that the system got me. The system got me because I committed a crime. But did I stay in the system? No, I didn't. I took accountability, bettered myself because I know society is the way it is, and I adapted and became a part of society in a successful way on my own.
No, and I like that.
You cannot put yourself in the fact that you want to play the victim that they took your rights. You want to play the victim that you can't have guns. You want to play the victim that you can't do this. Like, what about it? You can still go out and live life to the fullest of your potential and not let the past continue to be that bag that you're carrying over your shoulder that's going to weigh you down.
And I like that for you, and I agree. Like, I think that, you know, I'm not playing the victim. You know, I rehabilitate my life too. I'm just saying that even though our friends and family around us know how we've changed, right? Society in some views, right? And I'm not gonna like name parties or whatever, they still can see people as a whole as like, oh, they can't change. People do look at you differently. I think even in the working world, some colleagues, because I have lived experience, both, you know, with incarceration and drug use. A lot of like other therapists don't have lived experience like that. But I mean, you know, getting to know them and they see who I am and they see like how it's benefited me and it helps inform my work and my practice. I get that judgment kind of erodes.
You hit on a lot of points that's kind of like what's going on, what I see in our city and downtown. It kind of blows my mind that, you know, what I do as a job, I'm watching people do meth right there in front of me, and they're doing fentanyl on top of that. And it's kind of like they were so hard on meth back in the day. And it's like, you know, that's what my charge was, conspiracy to meth. And it's just like, I don't understand what changed. Like all of a sudden you were busting everybody, putting you in gang injunctions, they're gonna do all kinds of stuff, but then yet you have all these people in Skid Row, you have all these people in the park, like, and then now I'm hearing that there's money missing and all this, so it's kind of, it is disheartening. But I agree with the brothers here too, also saying like, you know, it is what it is. I'm gonna move on. That box, I still check, and I already have that list, all my crimes on a little note.
That's smart.
And I send it. You know, I send it and I roll with it. I say, God, if this is where you want me, this is where you want me. This job is not for me. But I feel so like some of my brothers, they're trying to get some better jobs.
Yeah.
And you know, and I hate that society in the workforce looks at the felony. Like, dude, I trust most of these felons. Like, I trust people that done time. I mean, these are solid people that took their time and they did what they did, and you know, and I wish companies knew that. I wish companies had that mindset, like, hey, these guys are solid. You know, yeah, they messed up, but they want to change. I want to give them the opportunity. And so, like, if that goes out to anybody, don't be afraid. Just put what you put, and just be yourself, and just go for it. Build on yourself. It's unfortunately the way things are not the way I think they should be. Hopefully, with this tape, that a lot of people get to see, like, especially people that are dealing with maybe stuff they're struggling with or committing crimes. My hope is that people give people the chance to give them that second chance to come back in their families and their lives, and that to check in on people. I feel like a lot of hurt people. We have no better time than the present to start doing things. It could just be a simple text or a simple hello to somebody.
I have strong issues with the system, but ultimately I can't change the system. I can only change myself. And when your focus is on things that are external, you're giving power to the external world. And so I just accepted that everything played a contribution, but ultimately it was my choice and my ability to create or not create positive things in my life. And when you focus on that, that's when you take power back, and that's the only way that you truly can change.
What is your greatest hope for yourself?
Honestly, that I have a positive impact on everybody that I come across, that I meet, not just friends, I mean, like acquaintances, whatever. I hope I have a positive impact on them. Something, I don't know, that makes them think the world's a better place.
It was good.
Oh, we're gonna
Thank you.